Photographer.
Hello.
Welcome to the regular council meeting of August 14th, 2017. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Can I get a roll call?
Mayor Pro Tem Bliss.
I'm here.
Councilman Clark.
Here.
Councilman Corbett.
Here.
Councilman Gettings.
Here.
Councilwoman Scott. Here. Councilman Soltis.
Here.
And Mayor Harwell.
Tonight we will start with an invocation by Councilman Gettings, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance to follow. Please stand if you're able.
We thank God for having given us the opportunity to meet here today, and we ask most humbly for a blessing of our gathering. Brighten our eyes with greater understanding, enrich our hearts with compassion and courage, and again, receive our gratitude for this opportunity of fellowship. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, before we get going, I'm obviously not Mayor Hartwell, Mayor Pro Tem Mark Bliss. I'd love to get a motion to excuse Mayor Hartwell from tonight's meeting. He let us know in advance.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Corbett?
I move to excuse the mayor from this evening's meeting.
Is there a second?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, Councilwoman Scott?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right. Are there any additions or deletions to tonight's agenda?
Nothing tonight, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem.
Also, nothing under presentations. So move to public hearings. Are there any reports on this agenda of interest to parties in the audience? All right. I'd like to open this meeting to the public. If you would, please give your name and address for the record.
Hello, I'm Gloria Moore. I live at 27368 Dartmouth. Friends of the Madison Heights area senior citizens are having a community barbecue and picnic over at Halfman Park. That's 2 blocks south of 11 Mile, two blocks west of John R. This coming Saturday, on the 19th, we'll be serving from noon to 7. We'll be setting up at 8 a.m. and serve from noon to 7, and then from 7 to closing, we'll be cleaning up. So if we invite everyone to come and to have a good time. And we are going to be having our regular third Tuesday meeting, but since we got locked out last time, I don't have the heart to invite anybody. So if you come at your own risk on that one. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Moore, just to clarify, you said Halfman Park? It's Huffman Park, correct?
Oh, Hoffman Park, you're right. I'm sorry. Hoffman Park, 2 blocks south of 11, 2 blocks west of John R.
Awesome.
Yeah, Hoffman. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to address council?
My name's Colleen Porter. I live at 30223 Longfellow. I just wanted to thank the city for providing the discounted vouchers for the water park. I unfortunately didn't move fast enough myself for my family to get some, but I know that it was a real success in the city, it sounds like, and I know that you helped provide creating some wonderful memories for the children and families in the city. So thank you for doing that.
Would anybody else like to address council? Okay, I will close the meeting to the public. Oh, there's one more, sorry.
Hi, I'm Rosalind Grafstein. I'm one of the troop leaders that was here a couple weeks ago for the fire hydrant painting, and a few days after that, the city installed a little library that we had made at Home Depot a couple of months ago. Just took time for everyone to get it done. So if anyone is looking for a little library in the city, we now have one at Graval Park. So it officially opened by our troop last week. Just want to let everyone know that if you're interested. Thank you.
Awesome, thank you. So I will now close this meeting to the public. Next on the agenda is communications. There are none. Reports, there are none as well. Items for future public hearings, none. So then we move to F, bid awards and purchases. And the first is a report from the fire chief on a power load ambulance lifting system.
1 second, Mr. Mayor. Yes, in our fiscal 2018 budget, $135,000 has been approved in the first of 2 phases for the purchase of a new ambulance. Funding for this ambulance includes the power load system manufactured by Stryker. This piece of equipment is a system that lifts and lowers the cot into and out of the ambulance, and it hydraulically lifts patients weighing up to 700 pounds with the touch of a button. The power load is a proprietary system and is the only system that will work with our Stryker cots. Kodiak Emergency Vehicle, which is an ambulance and fire truck dealership located in Grand Ledge, placed an order with Stryker for several power load systems to be sold and installed in their ambulances. Due to the quantity that was ordered, Kodiak received a discounted price. The city now has an opportunity to take advantage of the discounted price given to Kodiak because Kodiak has 2 remaining power loads that have not been sold, and they're in the process of canceling the remainder of the order. Kodiak is offering the 2 remaining power load systems for $19,000 each. And just to compare, and we're looking at one of those, as a cost comparison, the fire department received a quote of $22,691.60 for a new power load system from Stryker. But if we take advantage of this purchase now in the current fiscal year, we'll save $3,691.60 off the purchase price versus us buying it in the next fiscal year in July. And we do have the money budgeted through the Phase 1 funding of the new ambulance. Staff and I recommend the council waive the formal bid process to take advantage of the discounted price and award the purchase of 1 power load lifting system from Kodiak Emergency Vehicle in the amount of $19,000. And as I mentioned before, funds are budgeted and available for this purchase. Thank you.
What's the wish of council?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Corbett.
Sir, I move that the council waive the formal bid process and concur with the recommendation of staff and award the purchase of a power load lifting system from the Kodiak Emergency Vehicle in the amount of $19,000. The funds are budgeted and available.
Is there support?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilwoman Scott.
Second.
Okay, so motion by Councilman Corbett, second by Councilwoman Scott to waive the formal bid process and approve the purchase of a new power load for the fire department's 3rd ambulance to the Kodiak Emergency Vehicle in the amount of $19,000. Is there any discussion on this?
Your Honor,
Yes, Councilman Soltis.
I have a few questions for Chief. And we all know that you guys do a marvelous job day in and day out. I think this automatic loader is a tremendous tool. I wish they had it when I was doing it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been injured. But now that you have it, can you explain a little bit in detail of how you use it, how it really does benefit you and the crew, and kind of let the public know that this is an absolutely worthy expense?
Yes, definitely, Your Honor. Yes, for about 8 years ago, we initially bought the power lift stretchers, which we saw a dramatic decrease in back injuries. We can point to 3 injuries related to lifting patients in and out of the ambulance. Since that purchase of the cots that lift up with the battery, we've had no back injuries or no other injuries related to lifting. So it's been a huge success when it comes to savings on injuries and work and comp type of claims. So what we're purchasing tonight is the addition to the system where the firefighters do not have to lift the cot into the ambulance. We're going to actually just rolls it up and it pushes the cot in the ambulance. So that's the next phase. And we have 2 of them right now that are in the front line, both ambulances, and this 3rd one will be in the new one we purchased in July of 2018.
So, Your Honor, so does that mean there's the one medic does not have to hold the back as it goes in?
Correct. That's correct. It's all push button. It lifts the cot up and it puts it in the ambulance.
And it's up to, I think I read, 700 pounds?
Yes. Yep. So you can imagine if we had to lift a heavier patient, it's very difficult and a lot of strain on the firefighters.
And Your Honor, if I could add, before you ask the next question, one thing to what Chief said. We went back and kind of looked at our workers' comp experience, both before and after the purchase of the Stryker, and since we purchased the Stryker, roughly 2010.
Around 8 years.
Yeah, about 8 years. We haven't had a significant workers' comp injury related to lifting of a patient, but I can tell you anecdotally, I can think of 2 or 3 cases that we had prior to that, one of which was extended and which are, thankfully, we don't have now. So it's a good thing.
Your Honor, just a couple more.
Yes.
Actually, so I know with fire, you guys putting out fires, that's the heroic thing. Everybody's used to that. I think on the medic side, the medical transportation, it's kind of an underdog situation, unless they're actually in the ambulance, and then, of course, they see it firsthand. But like, what's our time runs? Do you know that? I mean, if you compare it to the national average, for our medical runs, let's say a response time for a priority 1?
Yeah, and the NFPA sets a standard for response time for fire departments. NFPA 1710 sets the organizational and deployment for career departments, and they set a timetable of 5 minutes from the time the fire department gets the call to the time they get to the address that they're going to. So we're talking 5 minutes from the time the dispatcher sets the tone off to the time our travel time to the address we're going to. And this year, we have an average of 3 minutes and 45 seconds that we're averaging for our calls to get one unit there, initial unit there, to provide care.
What about the volume of calls? It's got to be significant.
Well, this year we're over 2,800 calls as of right now.
2,800?
2,800, and 1,800 of them are EMS calls.
That's all. Thank you.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Chief?
Yes.
We talked a little bit about the lessening of the load and the workers' compensation and how it affects those in your department. Could you also elaborate on how this would affect residents, the speed and some of the additional safety as they're being loaded into the EMS?
Thank you, Your Honor. That's a very valid point, that it makes it safer for the patients. We've had incidents where the cot collapses as you're putting the patient in. We've had a couple people injured in that way. So yes, it's definitely safer for the patients along with the firefighters.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion from council? Okay, so the motion was from Councilman Corbett, and the support was from Councilwoman Scott. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right, so there are no ordinances tonight under G, nothing under unfinished business H. So let's move to the minutes of the regular council meeting of July 24th, 2017.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilman Clark?
I'd make a motion that the minutes of the 07-24-17 be adopted as printed.
Is there support?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilman Corbett?
Support, sir.
Okay. Motion made by Councilman Clark, seconded by Councilman Corbett. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. All right, so now we're under appointments. There is one appointment that is not a mayor's appointment, so we could tackle that tonight. There's a candidate for the Multicultural Relations Advisory Board. What's the wish of council for that?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilwoman Scott.
I would like to nominate Valerie Devine for a 3-year term on the Multicultural Relations Advisory Board to expire on August 24th, 2020.
Is there any support?
Your Honor?
Yes, Councilman Soltis.
Support.
Okay, so motion by Councilwoman Scott and second by Councilman Soltis to appoint Valerie Devine to the Multicultural Relations Advisory Board with a term that expires 8/24/2020. Is there any discussion? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right, so there is no executive session tonight, so we can move into closing comments. As always, let's start with Councilman Corbett.
I thought there was something odd, Your Honor, as we began the meeting tonight. Normally, our first motion is to appoint a clerk. And I'm glad to see and welcome back our city clerk, who's been away from us for a while.
Thank you very much.
Welcome home, and glad to see you doing well. I have nothing else this evening, sir, so thank you.
Councilman Gettings.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, Pro Tem. Like to welcome Cheryl back. We missed you. And Ramona did a great job. I just wanted to compliment the staff on whatever they had to do with 11 Mile and 13 Mile. I've traveled it a few times, and it turned out really well. The roads are smooth, like that one section on 12 Mile in Warren. Now they're attempting to do another section in Warren. So I just want to thank Jim and Mr. Myers and whoever else might have had something to do with it, because it turned out really well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Your Honor, if I could piggyback onto that, too. I also want to thank staff on those projects, and as well as the public. We closed one leg of the Whitcomb-John R. intersection because of the sectional improvements, and as council's well aware, it's rare that we do that. But in this case, it saved us 3 more weeks of headaches and lane restrictions on Whitcomb, so we decided to do the closure for 1 week, and of course our contractor finished on time as we knew he would, and it was a very good thing. Thank you.
Perfect. Mr. Sherman, anything tonight?
Mr. Mayor, I'd echo the same comments made by Councilmen Corbett and Gettings about welcoming our city clerk back, her first council meeting back since her absence. And I can tell her that Ms. Sanchez not only did a wonderful job in her absence, but she's the happiest person in City Hall now that you're back. So we wish you the best. That's it, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Myers, anything tonight?
Welcome Cheryl back, too, and echo that Ramona did a great job. Thank you.
Ms. Prince.
Well, thank you very much for all your kind sentiments. I would like to thank everybody for their wishes of support and emails and texts that I received. I even received a couple cards from residents, from election workers, so that was really nice. It's good to be back. Thank you.
Welcome back. Councilman Clark, anything tonight?
Well, it's good to see Cheryl back to help me through the meetings. And for the people that haven't checked the senior center out, you're missing a lot, believe me. Today I was there. They had a 50s party, and it was very well attended. For $6, they had a live band, played 50s music. They had a light lunch, and then they had car races. And believe me, it was a lot of fun. They did take a little while to explain it, but everything is done on the floor in a senior center. That's all I have.
Awesome. Councilwoman Scott, anything tonight? No, nothing? No?
Yes, I again would like to say how delighted I am that Cheryl is back. Ramona did a fantastic job as always, but nobody is irreplaceable. And I would really like to say that I'm so glad she's back, and that the reason that she came was due to something that she had medically found out from our clinic downstairs in our own building. So I would like to thank them for finding that problem, and for Cheryl's working hard to correct that situation. And I may become her walking partner, because I don't want to wind up there either. But I'm just so glad she's back. She's friendly, and she gives us everything we need to know. So I appreciate her being back. I would also encourage our residents to attend the barbecue this Saturday. If you're not going to the Dream Cruise, this is a great place to stop, or maybe you could do it in conjunction with that. But I know that these people who are the Friends of the Madison Heights Area Senior Citizens give a lot of their time to our community, plus a lot of their own private funding. So it would really be nice if we could show up there and let them know how much we appreciate what they're doing for our city. I know that the newspaper this week had published the football schedules for this coming, the high schools, Bishop Foley, Lamphere, and Madison. And so please get out and support your team. The Wolverines are also beginning this week, the Madison Heights Wolverines. So if you don't have anything to do on a weekend, that's a great place to go and cheer the kids. They work so hard, cheerleaders as well as football players, coaches, and teams. I'm so glad they're a part of Madison Heights. Thank you.
Awesome. Councilman Soltis.
Yes, Your Honor. I want to do a shout out for DPS. I've been knocking on doors lately, and I'll be on one street, and I gotta deal with the street sweepers, right? So I gotta leave there, and I go there, and I get the garbage trucks. They're doing their thing. I gotta go move there, and then there's which are all good things, right? And then the city funded sidewalk repairs for the tree roots. They're everywhere doing that stuff. So I think DPS is doing a fabulous job, and I just wanted to thank them. The second thing is we're trying to do, I came up with this idea, well, the city manager and I were talking about it in terms of code enforcement, where I think we're setting up an email where if you have a code enforcement issue in your neighborhood and you're right next door, you can take a picture of it and email it to City Hall, and then we'll be able to look into it, investigate it. And that came up one time when I was knocking on a door, and a neighbor was saying this backyard was just like overgrown with foliage and everything, and it was. But I didn't have my phone with me, so I couldn't take a picture. But what we did, I'm sorry?
And Your Honor, the email address that we're setting up is codes, CODES, at madison-heights.org. Codes at madison-heights.org.
So I think that's another great idea, innovation, where you take a quick picture, send it over, put some address down, and we'll get right on top of it. And thirdly, my prayers go out to the Charlottesville car attack. That was just horrendous. So my prayers go out to the victims and the family for that hate crime. It's just too much hate and destruction in the world today. It's crazy. So that's all.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes,
I
Councilman Scott.
forgot something.
Please, the floor is yours.
You want to say something, Ben? Yeah. I've been looking forward to the eclipse. Of course, nobody is going to be around for the next one. I can guarantee you that, since it's a long time from now. But I know that you have to really protect your eyes. And I was so excited to come here tonight and seeing on our table the safety glasses, the ones you are going to require. And this was a gift from the library. Now, the library has them at, will they be for sale, Ben, or?
No, they're actually available beginning today.
Okay.
It's a limited supply for card holders only, and there's a limit of 2 per family.
Okay. And while you're there, make sure you take out a book, too, or a CD or whatever you want. But I want to thank the library for this gift, because that solves one of my problems. Thank you.
Perfect. Well, I will try to be quick. Councilman Soltis, I like having the email for code enforcement. I mean, that's been something we've been working on for the last few years, really heavily. I mean, everybody at this table has been trying to find ways that we can enhance it, and that's a really nice innovation to add to it. And hopefully we can keep getting some more ideas and keep moving things forward. I do also want to echo my colleagues' wishes in welcoming Ms. Prince back. Ramona was awesome while you were out, so that's also a testament to you and training and having a department that's prepared to step in when needed. So I was very impressed with that. Also impressed with the construction. I work off of that Whitcomb construction, and so with that being closed, I immediately started getting a little bit worried. Got, out-of-town folks coming into the office, and, it was just kind of, there was a lot of construction, but they handled it very well. The detour was, very visible. There was a lot of signage. It was done incredibly well for what it was. It wasn't as big of a hindrance as you would expect with any type of a road closure. So that, hats off to DPS on that. I'd also like to highlight the barbecue, the community barbecue at Huffman Park. From noon to 7. Miss Moore and the Friends of the Madison Heights Area Seniors are always here. They're always, talking about community and how to improve the lives of seniors. And so this should be a really fun time for everybody to get together and talk about that cause and mission and hear a little bit more about the group. I also like to highlight that this year the Pink Out game is Lanphier versus Madison. Yeah. So with the with the football schedules being put out there, that's I think the second time only that the Pink Out game, which is raising money for charity, is against the crosstown rivals. And I'm a Lanphier grad, I got a lot of friends at Madison, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to get the entire city together to experience that. So I'd encourage everybody to look at that schedule, highlight that Pink Out game, because it's going to be a really good time. Lastly, I would like to thank everybody for bearing with me, the other millennial who gets to wield the gavel, so thank you for that. Also, thank you for pointing out that it was 7-0, it was 6-0, not 7-0. Kind of missed that one. But overall, we're out in record time, and I take full credit for that. Oh, one more thing?
Yes, the Pink Out game is on October 20th. Just so they know ahead of time.
October 20th.
Yes.
One more thing?
Where's the game being? Is it Hampshire?
The game is at Madison. The game is at Madison. So all the rest of us Rams, truck it over there. Make sure you come in. Actually, the dedication of Jim Meyer Stadium and all of that recently, they've done a lot of good things to that stadium, which is also where you practice and play when you're in the Wolverines. So I encourage everybody to come out to that. You can contact Jimmy Mack Brown, the rest of the Madison administration and board to learn about the Pink Out, the cause, where the money goes to, and what you can do for it. So with that, I'd like to ask if there is any other business before council. If not, then I'd like to adjourn.